Well, it's been a week into the official pandemic, and I'm already getting used to the fact that in my lifetime there's going to be a pandemic on the scale of the 1918 Spanish flu. This is going to make things weird for a lot of other people around me, but I'm just really just going to make these videos to vent and just really sort of deal with the stress of living under such a situation. Um, to give you an idea of who I am, I'm 34 years old. I live with a disability. I live with cerebral palsy. Even though I can relatively function and move around and walk and stuff. I have issues with just general self care and thankfully I'm employed as a freelancer and I'm under a long term contract, but I'm still nervous as to how things are going to shake out because the way things are going now, I don't think I'm going to be able to go back to retail if it manages to survive in the way things are currently done. I I'm really just nervous about the short term and just wanting to get through the next 2 to 3 months. I mean, all my plans for the year are basically shot, and I'm under a survival mentality at this point. I, it sucks to live in that sort of situation, but when you're me, when you're in my situation, when you're an older adult with a disability that gets no federal help whatsoever, you kind of have to, you kind of have to roll with the punches, and it gets disappointing. There's stuff that I wanted to do this year that I wanted to get done. I wanted to travel. I wanted to, get into photography. I wanted to do stuff like that. But uh, with the with this pandemic just basically spreading worldwide, I'm basically just going to write the year off and uh, focus on surviving this year, and then hopefully next year pick up my plans where I left them off. I still plan to do things. I just have to do them with the expectation that I won't be able to travel outdoors very much, if at all, which isn't really much of a difference from how I've been doing things already. It's just that a lot of the stupid bullshit that people are dealing with now with retail and everything else is going to expose a lot of inefficiency and a lot of really arbitrary BS that I had to deal with as a disabled person. And it's going to either kill off a lot of unnecessary businesses like cell phone dealers and things like that. And then it's also going to mean that for a lot of lower income people, uh, a lot of those a lot of those locations also were for a lot of people the only way they could conveniently get cell phone service, which I still don't really buy into because the way the way most prepaid service works now is you go to a convenience store or a general store like a Family Dollar and you buy a phone, you buy a prepaid card, and you're good to go. You're good to go with cash. I really don't see much retail surviving the the shock, the initial shock of the epidemic, unless you sell food, unless you sell uh, necessities. I really don't see retail surviving much beyond that. I don't see a lot of outdoor work surviving in its current form either. Uh, a lot of inefficiency with bureaucracy and things like paying bills, paying Even things like going to the bank is going to need to be addressed now with the specter of the pandemic hanging over everybody. Uh, you know, I just I'm going to make these videos to vent, but that's pretty much it. I really don't see the point in adding to any of the speculation, any of the hysteria, anything like that. I'm just venting from my point of view as a 34-year-old guy who hasn't gotten laid in ever, uh, and was really hoping to get laid this year, but that's not gonna happen. So all I can do is just hunker down, survive, work, freelance, and make the best of things. I am thankful that I have my family with me. I am thankful that I have a roof over my head. I am thankful that all of my friends I can easily reach online or even with a phone call. I am thankful for people like my favorite Twitch streamer. Uh, she's been streaming a lot lately, and she's had her own struggles with having to quickly rearrange her entire business model because of the fact that almost every live convention that she travels to has either postponed or canceled for the year. So I've been helping her out as much as I can, and I've been, I've been thankful that she's been streaming and giving her audience and her fandom a place to sort of congregate around her, you know, because she wants to give people a space to sort of relax from the constant cycle of the ongoing uh, panic and hysteria around the pandemic, which I really appreciate. And then on Instagram, I just do things I can do to cope, like share cosplay and share, you know, offer a kind word or a kind gesture of affection. Basically, lately I've just been flirting online with whoever is being receptive. Uh, I don't really see myself getting into a relationship this year as much as I wanted to be in a relationship, to have a significant other. That's not gonna happen. So, like I said, I'm just gonna ride the rest of the year out and see where it goes. Uh, I'm not necessarily scared because I've always been in some sort of survival mindset no matter what throughout my life. So right now it's just this incredible feeling of peace to know that others are going through the same cycle of shock and having to switch into a survival mindset, and a lot of people can't cope. And as much as it's seen as wrong to take joy in the misfortune of others, in this case, what this pandemic is exposing is that a lot of the accommodations that I was refused or have been refused in the past are suddenly now easily available to able-bodied people. Whereas uh, me being a disabled writer, and me being a former retail worker, a lot of accommodations that I used to ask for that were summarily rejected because either they were unfair or they were seen as too expensive are now all of a sudden easily available to anyone that asks for them. And while that does make me angry, at the same time, I hope it makes companies and large corporations realize that when we're asking for accommodation, we're not asking for special treatment. What we're asking for is a level field in which we can do our jobs. And the majority of time better than most able-bodied people. But because you refuse to make simple accommodations, we cannot show you that we can do the job as good or if not better than most able-bodied people. And so I'm just gonna leave it there.